What is up, Watts Squad? Hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we're going to bring back a video series that I was doing and never really stopped. I just kind of got busy with all the content we were getting over Zero Chill, Thanksgiving, and all that stuff. We're going to be bringing back the tier ranking list for all the positions in Madden. I figured let's start it out with a bang. Let's go with the quarterbacks, the most requested position, of course, the most important position in the game of football. And just to say a quick little thing, obviously, the Ravens did lose. Unfortunately, we lost the Bills. It was a well, I wouldn't say it was a great game. It was a pretty sloppy game. Offensive line played very, very poorly for the Ravens. Justin Tucker missing 2 field goals was obviously not ideal, so sad to say that the season is over, but I'm glad that we got a pretty good season from the Ravens, hoping that the offensive line can get everything together. Lamar comes back. He had a little bit of a concussion, so hopefully he's okay. I think he will be okay. It will come back next year, and then best of luck to everyone else in the rest of the playoffs. I'm kind of rooting for the Bucs because they got a couple of former Auburn players on the team, Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis, but that is all beside the point. Let's go ahead and get into this tier ranking after a quick word from our sponsor. Boys, if you're looking to add that brand new shiny player to your team in Madden, don't gamble with packs. Hit up Red Zone Coins for cheap, fast, reliable coins to help build your team. Use code WAS to get 20% off your order. And guys, y'all know if you want to build that coin stack up, build the best team that you can up, be sure to subscribe with the noti bell on. We'll do a 100,000 coin giveaway at some point during this video, so make sure you stick around to be entered into that. That is, of course, with Red Zone Coins, my sponsor. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it here. And guys, for quarterbacks, this is going to be really important. Obviously, we have S through D. Everybody on this list is very, very good. We did everybody. There was a 93 plus at the quarterback position, non-powered up. So if anybody is not on this list, it's probably because they're not a 93 plus. I don't think I left anybody off. If I did, correct me down in the comments below if you're watching this a week or two from now. Obviously, there will probably be some more quarterbacks in the game, so that's probably why. But let's start out with Alex Smith. He is going to be an A tier. And also, I want to say everybody on this list is pretty darn good. There's really no one on here that's just not good at all. There do have to be people in C and D tier, though. That doesn't mean they're bad players, bad quarterbacks. It just means that they're not as good as the people above them, obviously. But some people get triggered, and they think that the people I'm putting in D tier are just bad. And that's not really the case. But Alex Smith goes into A tier here. So a very, very important thing with quarterbacks in general is, of course, going to be their archetype, which I'm on Mudhead right now. If you scroll down right here, you can see their archetype. And field general is very, very good. So the most important thing with quarterbacks, outside of their base stats, which of course we're going to talk about, is the abilities that they're able to get. So Alex Smith is a 95 overall field general with 85 speed, 91 excel, 95 throw power, 93 short accuracy, 91 mid, 89 deep. I'm not going to go over all their stats every single time, but you can look at all their stats right here. I'll have it pulled up on the screen. Alex Smith is going into A tier simply because he has the best archetype in the game for the meta. It's not really what I run on my offense, the field general, but the field general, if we look over on the spreadsheet here, and a huge shout out here to the Marksman13 on Twitter for having this spreadsheet. This is a very, very good spreadsheet. You can go and look at some of the abilities here. But if you go look at the line here for the field general, we'll go look at this every time we get a new archetype, but we're not going to go look at this every single time. But the field general column is arguably the best archetype in the game for a quarterback, because you can see right here they get gunslinger at 95 overall and 95 throw power, which is very, very nice. And then they get set feet lead, pass field lead, all that as well. There's no thresholds there. Hot route master, they get in tier 3 with only 90 awareness. And obviously the downside with field general quarterbacks is they're not really going to get anything in the running ability, but obviously you're not really doing that with these guys a lot. But Alex Smith is, of course, one of the field general guys with that 95 throw power, so he will get gunslinger. And this is a very, very nice card. I don't believe he has a power up, which is a little bit of a bummer, but for a playoff quarterback card, this is very, very nice. 95 throw power. Again, gunslinger is one of the best abilities in the game. Not one that I personally run on my team, but I understand that is the meta that everybody wants to use. I just don't use my quarterbacks very much anymore. But Alex Smith, a very good quarterback. That's why he's going into the A tier very solidly right here. Next up, we have Baker Mayfield, and he is going to go into C tier. Let's jump over to his card right here, 93 overall. Scrolling on down, you can see he's an improviser archetype quarterback. So going back over to the ability spreadsheet here, improviser is still a pretty decent archetype. It's not quite as good as field general in my opinion, but if you are a bit of you like to run with your quarterback and also throw with him, that's probably going to be your best bet is an improviser, because they do get a lot of these running based abilities and things like that. So those are a lot of good ones. Gunslinger, though, is the problem here. They have to have a 95 overall with 95 throw power, and of course this Baker Mayfield does not have that. He's the 93 overall. That's the biggest problem with this Baker Mayfield. He's only a 93 overall with 94 throw power. And just so y'all know, obviously you can boost up that throw power with chemistries and everything, but to meet these thresholds you have to meet them without chemistries. So if you go and you put chemistries on your guys and you boost them up with that 95 throw power that you need, it's not going to matter for this Baker Mayfield, because it has to be like that on his base card. And obviously it has to be a 95 overall anyway, and you can't do that. But again, if you do get into a 95 overall with chemistries, sprinter, whatever it may be, stuff like that, still not going to matter. You have to have that 95 overall as their base card. If you put them into a power up, that does count, but with no chemistries, you have to have them at that. But that's why I have Baker Mayfield here in the C tier, and these first few ones are going to take a little bit longer because I want to go over all the archetypes and everything. But Baker Mayfield here, 84 speed, 93 overall with 94 throw power, 92 short accuracy, 89 mid, 90 deep, 93 throw on the run. Nothing really crazy about him. 81 change change of direction is nice. So he's a little bit fast. You know, he's just kind of a decent card. 94 throw power is nice, but it's not really going to unlock any of those top tier abilities that we really want for these quarterbacks. So Baker Mayfield is set down here solidly in the C tier. Next up on the list is the 95 overall Tom Brady for the playoffs, and he is going to go here in A tier as well. He's going to be lower down on the A tier, obviously, as I fill this list out more. We'll see that a little bit more, but he is on the cusp of A and B tier. Going over looking at his card right here, he's got 62 speed. Obviously, it's Brady. You're not going to be running with him at all. He is, of course, the field general archetype. That's no surprise there. So 95 overall with 93 throw power. That is his biggest weakness right there. 96 short accuracy, 92 mid accuracy, 91 deep, 86 throw on the run, 96 play action, 92 throw under pressure, and just all of his running stats are just absolutely garbage. So nothing to go after there. He does not get gunslinger, which is one of the biggest issues with this card. His release just by itself is still pretty good. And by the way, if you didn't know, gunslinger just allows them to release the ball a lot faster. They throw it a lot faster. There's not as much arc on the ball. So some quarterbacks just do that naturally a little bit better, like Aaron Rodgers, who we'll talk about later in this video. Even without gunslinger, he has a pretty good release. Brady's isn't nearly as good as Rodgers, but it is still pretty good. He still doesn't get that gunslinger, but he does get hot route master, which is another very OP ability. So that is why he is here in the A tier, but it is going to be lower down on the A tier just because of the lack of the abilities that he gets because of that throw power. Next up on the list is Daniel Jones. He's going to come in here solidly at B tiers. Looking on over here at his card, he's got 89 speed, 94 throw power, 92 short accuracy, 90 mid, 91 deep, 93 run, 92 play action. You can see pretty much all these guys, they're all going to have 90 plus on the majority of their throwing stats at this point in the game. That's really what you want, especially for someone here like a field general. So a pretty solid card here, Daniel Jones. He's not really someone that's going to blow you away, but he is a pretty solid performer. And honestly, between him and Brady, I think they're pretty comparable. Obviously, the big difference here is Daniel Jones has a little more speed, and Brady's going to be a little bit more accurate than Daniel Jones, but both of these guys are in between the B and the A tier. They're kind of right there on the cusp. Next up on the list, we have the 93 overall Autumn Masters, Desean Watts, and this card was very, very good back when he first came out. Obviously, it's about 2 or 3 months later now, so not the best in the world. He is going down there into C tier. 93 overall with 87 speed. He's an improviser archetype quarterback. 93 throw power, 91 short, 91 mid, 88 deep, 92 throw on the run, 93 break sacks. So he's got some pretty good stats here, but he's still held back by the fact that he's about 2 months old at this point. Obviously, on a Texas team, he's going to be pretty solid, but his speed is not quite where I want it to be for an improviser at this point in the game, because if you're using an improviser, you should be running a good little bit, and he's just not really quite there with that speed, but he does get a decent amount of abilities that you would want. Just not one of the best quarterbacks in the game. That's why you have him all the way down here in C tier. Next up on the list, we got the big boy himself, Donovan McNabb, and he's going to be our first guy here in D tier. And guys, remember, no one get mad at me. D tier is still good quarterbacks, but he is going to be down here in D tier. So looking at his stats here, 93 overall, team of the week, 87 speed. He is an improviser quarterback. 91 throw power, 90 short accuracy, 91 mid accuracy, 88 deep accuracy, 92 throw on the run, 92 break sack, and 88 change of direction. That's a big chunky boy right there. Honestly, guys, he's just not the best as an improviser. He's pretty decent at running the ball, but just overall, he seems to miss a lot of throws for me. He just doesn't do a lot of things incredibly well. He's a pretty decent quarterback. Again, they're all good quarterbacks on this list, but just overall, I couldn't justify putting him above D tier because I think he's below all of these guys and just not really. I mean, if you want to have him on your team, if you're running an Eagles theme team, that makes sense. But other than that, I really don't see why you would. Next up on the list, we have the Autumn Blast, Drew Brees, and just want to say he is going to go down here into D tier. Drew Brees should be getting an upgrade soon. He just lost in the playoffs, so congratulations to him. He's a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, he might be retiring now. I kind of wish they'd advance a little bit further, but like I said, I am rooting for the Bucs, so I was pulling for them in that game. But Drew Brees, still major respect to this guy. But this card, unfortunately, does drop down here into D tier. It's just because it's an older card, kind of like with Donovan McNabb there. But 93 overall, looking at the stats here, is of course a field general with the 65 speed, very comparable to Brady there in terms of the speed. 90 throw power, nothing really to write home about there. 93 short accuracy is nice, 92 mid, 88 deep, 84 throw on the run. Just kind of the same thing that we're looking at. The 15 truck there is really, that's ridiculous. But of course, you're not really going to be running with this card. But there's nothing really that jumps off the page here. He's not even going to come close to Gunslinger looking at the abilities page here, of course. But he is still a pretty solid quarterback. Again, everyone down in D tier is still pretty solid. Drew Brees should be getting an upgrade soon. That could be a pretty nasty card if they do him right by his throw power. And I don't really care about his speed, but all his accuracy and everything. So we'll see how they do with all that stuff. But Drew Brees solidly down here in D tier. Next up, we have Joe Montana, another field general. There's a lot of field generals, and he is going to be here in C tier. His stats are actually pretty similar to Drew Brees here. 93 overall with 80 speed. That is the biggest difference there. He is sort of viable at scrambling the ball if you need him to, so he's okay at that. 90 throw power though, which is of course not going to let him get gunslinger, which definitely sets him lower on the list. 92 short accuracy, 91 mid, 90 deep, 90 throw on the run, 91 play action, and 92 throw under pressure. Again, just an older card. They didn't want to give everyone gunslinger at this point. Looking at the abilities here, field general, I believe he does get high route master. They don't actually have awareness on here, which is kind of weird unless I'm just overlooking it. But of course he doesn't get the gunslinger, but still a pretty good card with a little bit of running, but pretty similar to Drew Brees here. That's what bumps him up into that C tier, is that speed speed, just being able to run a little bit better if everything breaks down and he just needs to run for it. So Joe Montana, C tier. Next on the list, we have the Blitz, Kyler Murray. He's going to go down here into C tier, and he is actually our first scrambler type archetype. So you see him here, 93 overall with 92 speed, 92 throw power, 89 short accuracy. Looking at the ability sheet here, scrambler is not a very good archetype this year, in my opinion. If you like to run the ball with your quarterback, maybe you do a triple option or something weird like that, you just scramble a ton, then maybe for that. But the ability that you really want with a scrambling quarterback is this human joystick, which none of the quarterbacks get in the game yet at this point. So Kyler Murray, because of his speed and his ability to run, goes here into C tier. But honestly, you could drop him down into D tier if you don't like to run with your quarterback at all. I do like to run occasionally with mine. That's why I have him in C tier. But other than that, stays down at the bottom of the list. Next up, we have the LaDainian Tomlinson out of position. We don't have to talk about this one too long because he's a halfback out of position, and his stats actually look pretty good. 93 overall. Obviously, he's going to be a scrambler archetype quarterback. And his stats are actually not bad, like I said, 93 overall with 92 speed, 93 acceleration, 93 change of direction. So this is going to be a pure scrambling quarterback. 88 throw power, 93 short accuracy, basically slants and short ends and scrambling. That's all you're going to do with him, and he still misses a lot of those, to be honest with you. His deep accuracy is obviously terrible at 77. So yeah, this is more of a wildcat quarterback. He's not even a real quarterback. He can throw the ball very shortly, but that's about it. He misses anything that's over like 15 or 20 yards, and maybe if they're wide open. But overall, not a great quarterback. You just want to use him in certain situations, and it can be fun because it's LT. I love LT, and if you want to run with him, that's great. But I'll just take him at running back, honestly, at this point. All right, next up, we have the zero chill Patrick Mahomes, and this is going to be our first S tier on the list. Patrick Mahomes, very, very good quarterback, 95 overall. We were waiting on him to get a power up or an upgrade for a very, very long time. He is an improviser type quarterback, so he's not the field general, which, you know, kind of sucks, but it is what it is. He's got that 83 speed, so he's fast enough to make things happen with his feet. And then, guys, look at all these stats. These stats are disgusting here. 95 throw power, 95 short, 93 mid, 92 deep, 94 throw on the run, 93 play action, 95 throw under pressure. And the big thing is that he actually does get gunslinger, because one of Patrick Mahomes in the game right now, his biggest issues is his release, but he does get gunslinger on this card, which definitely puts him into this S tier up here. A very, very good card. He's hard to play against. He does not miss many throws. He can always hurt you on the ground with his feet. Just a really good card. This is one of the best cards in the game, or at least best quarterbacks in the game. Very solid, very deserving of S tier. Next up, we have another old dude, another slow dude. That's going to be Phillip Rivers. He's going to come here into B tier. This is his playoff card. 95 overall. Pretty solid looking card overall with the 68 speed, 94 throw power, 95 short, 94 mid, 91 deep. Blah, 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 all that good stuff. He is, of course, a field general archetype quarterback. He is another one of those quarterbacks that's on the cusp between B and A tier. The biggest issue with this card is that he doesn't have a power up or anything like that, so he does not quite get gunslinger just like Brady, and I think Brady's just a little bit better of a quarterback overall. And also, Brady probably will be getting another upgrade just based on how he's playing right now. Assuming the Bucs continue to advance, he'll probably get another upgrade like a 97 or a 98 at some point. Phillip Rivers still a pretty good card, though, and I think B tier is pretty solid for him. Next up is Rich Gannon, and this is probably the best quarterback. It's between Mahomes and Rich Gannon, honestly, are the best two in the game. Very, very good card. Looking over at his stats here, of course, a field general. You'll see a theme there. A lot of field generals. I know Mahomes is an improviser, but Mahomes is kind of a special case just because of how good he is. So 96 overall for his legend here. He's been in the game for a couple of weeks now. 84 speed, 95 throw power, and very, very nice looking stats here. 94 short, 93 mid, 93 deep, 93 throw on the run, 94 play action, 94 throw under pressure. This is a very, very good card. Whenever I see somebody on this team, obviously a Raiders team gets a boost and all that good stuff, but whenever I see somebody using this card, kind of sucks because I know that they're going to be dotting me up a lot because he's very, very accurate. He's very, very good. And the Raiders team is probably the best team in the game right now. Big part of that is because of Rich Gannon, so he's a hard one to go up against. It's a toss-up between him and Mahomes. You know, whether you want to run a little bit more, you use Mahomes. Rich Gannon's more of a pure pocket passer, but both very, very good quarterbacks, and I think both very deserving of S tier. Next up, we have the 50 Aaron Rodgers. He joins these two up here in S tier. We kind of went right through the S tier guys all there really, really quick, but Aaron Rodgers here. So he is an improviser style quarterback, 94 throw power, 93 short, 78 speed. So he's not that fast. That's fine though. 91 mid. I'm jumping all over the place here, but 93 deep, 93 throw on the run. All pretty good for the most part. Improviser. The best thing about Aaron Rodgers is just his natural release. He does get gunslinger if you put him into his power up and all that good stuff, but even without gunslinger, he has a very, very good release. So this is definitely one of the best cards in the game, and he honestly, he's probably going to be getting MVP, so he probably will be getting an upgrade again here soon. That card will be just nasty and disgusting, so be on the lookout for that one whenever it comes out. But Aaron Rodgers definitely up here in S tier, and whenever he gets an upgrade, he's going to be the best quarterback in the game, hands down. All right, next up we have the 94 overall Autumn Blast Tony Romo. He goes down here into C tier. Not a really great card. He gets improviser archetype, which is kind of weird. I really thought he would have gotten field general, but it is what it is. You get see the 78 speed there. So you're really not going to be running with him at all, even though he's improviser. So 92 throw power, 94 short, 92 mid, 94 deep, 94 throw on the run. So all his throwing stats are pretty solid, but just being that improviser archetype with really no speed at all to run really hurts him a lot. That's why he's down here in C tier. He's only not in D tier because his passing stats are still pretty decent, but overall just kind of a disappointing card. I wish they'd put him as a field general. That would have made him a lot better. That would bump him up to B or A tier. Now for the legend, Steve McNair, 94 overall, going into B tier here. So he is a field general style quarterback with 85 speed. So look at that. We just talked about Romo. He had like 78 as an improviser, and McNair has 85 speed as a field general. Kind of ridiculous again for Romo, but it is what it is. It's not all about speed, I know that. But McNair here is who we're talking about now with 93 throw power, 92 short, 91 mid, 90 deep, 92 throw on the run, 91 play action, and 91 throw under pressure. This is just a really, really good card. Again, he gets that field general quarterback, and that's going to help pretty much any of these guys out. I think he's definitely better than Phillip Rivers. He unfortunately does not get gunslinger just like the other guys in this list, but he is a little bit faster, which is nice, so you can use him in running situations despite being a field general quarterback. So Steve McNair, definitely, he's one of the more popular quarterbacks, one of the more popular legend quarterbacks in the game, especially other than Rich Gannon. So definitely a good one. B tier, on the cusp of A tier for sure. Next up at the 95 overall playoff, Tannehill. He goes into A tier here. Going to look at his stats, 95 overall with 86 speed. Again, pretty nice there on the speed. He can run, he can make stuff happen. 93 throw power is very, very nice. 94 short, 92 mid, 89 deep, 92 throw on the run, 95 play action, and 94 throw under pressure. That 95 play action is just, he likes to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. But no, this is actually a very, very good card. Field general type archetype, so he still doesn't get that gunslinger. Again, if you miss out on that gunslinger, that is going to keep you down a little bit. I would put him into A tier if he did get gunslinger, but he unfortunately does not. That's keeping him down a little bit there, but still very good. Just under Brady here in my position, he has a little bit of extra speed to help him run down the field, but Brady still beats him in the passing stats straight up, so I'll take Brady over Tannehill. Next up, we have the 95 playoff Mitch Trubisky. He's going to go down here into C tier, somewhere thrown in there. He's a scrambler, which I feel kind of odd. I didn't know Trubisky was be classified as a scrambler. Decent speed there with 89, but again, you've got guys that are a lot faster, so I don't know why you would use Mitch Trubisky, but he does have really nice there with the 96 throw power. That is very, very nice, but with, again, with the scrambling archetype, it doesn't really help a lot. You see scrambler right here. Down here, gunslinger is what you're looking at. You need the 97 overall with the 95 throw power. He does hit the 95 throw power, but he does not hit the 97 overall, so kind of useless there. As a scrambler, you're going to want someone that runs a lot if you're going to be using that type of archetype, and again, unless you're running like a theme team or something. In Trubisky, there's just better options out there than Trubisky. That's what drops him down in here into C tier. Next up, the veteran Tyrod Taylor, 93 overall, down here in D tier. Unfortunately, scrambler type quarterback, 93 overall, 91 speed, so a little bit faster than Trubisky, but his passing stats are not nearly as good as Trubisky's, so I will definitely take Trubisky over Tyrod. Tyrod, unfortunately, just, again, not a really great archetype in the game. He is athletic, so if you want to run with him, that's fine, but there's definitely better options than this. We'll go over two of them here in just a minute. Pretty good passing stats, but for the most part, nothing really to set him above the other guys, so definitely going to stay down here in D tier. Now, one of the most popular quarterbacks in the game, Michael Vick, the 50-96. I am putting him here in A tier, top of the A tier. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, obviously, he's a very, very good scrambling quarterback, the best in the game, so if that is your playstyle, he's definitely S tier for you. But if he's not your playstyle, that's going to hurt you a lot. And another big knock on him is that he is left-handed. That doesn't really bother me. I used him a lot last year, but that does bother some people. So if that doesn't bother you in your scrambler, then S tier. But if it doesn't, then he's down here in A tier. That's why I got him in A tier, but it kind of just depends. So 96 overall with 95 speed, 96 acceleration, 96 agility. He's disgusting. 97 throw power, 91 short, 87 mid. That is a big issue right there. That mid accuracy and that short is nothing great either. But 93 deep, 95 throw on the run, 93 play action, blah, 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 all that stuff. 94 change of direction, guys. He's so athletic. He's so good in the open field. He is hard to take down. If you're a big scrambler with your quarterback, you don't throw the ball deep a ton, or I guess in the mid-range for Michael Vick, then he is going to be your guy. He's very, very good, very, very athletic. Best runner in the game right now at the quarterback position, like no comparison. Next up, we have the campus hero, Vince Young, down here in D tier. He's kind of in between D and C tier, but again, another scrambler type archetype. Oh, by the way, Michael Vick is a scrambler type archetype, but he's good enough to make up for the deficiencies that they have there at scrambler, and obviously you're going to want to use him if you run with him a lot. But Vince Young here, 95 overall with 90 speed, 92 acceleration, 94 throw power, 92 short, 89 mid, 90 deep. So pretty decent stats all around, but really, guys, just with a scrambler, there's just better options out there. Vince Young is just not the best option out there as a scrambler, and his passing stats are fine, but there's nothing that blow you off the page. And finally, last but not least, the reigning MVP himself, Mr. Lamar Jackson, rip for losing in the playoffs. You know, it is what it is. It was a great run, but we're putting him at the top of C tier. A lot of the same reasons that a lot of the other guys are dropped down. He is not actually a scrambling type archetype. He is actually an improviser, but what we have to do here to look at his card, we have to go to upgrades for the Snow Beast, 93 overall. We could just throw him into his power up, but we're not going to do that. But 93 overall with 93 speed, so he is second to Michael Vick in terms of scrambling quarterbacks, which is pretty decent considering how good Michael Vick is. Looking at some of the other stats here, 92 throw power, which is okay, 92 short, 86 mid, 86 deep accuracy, 93 throw on the run. So really his passing stats are nothing great. They don't jump off the page. This is who I currently use on my Ravens theme team. He's definitely not the best quarterback in the game. Top of C tier, you could drop him down into D if you don't run very much at all. That's pretty much all that saves this Lamar Jackson card is his ability to run. Maybe they'll buff his passing stats a little bit in the future, but overall still a very, very good card, and if you like to run the ball a lot, then Lamar Jackson is going to do just fine for you. All right, guys, so I hope that one didn't get a little too long-winded, but that is my tier ranking for all the quarterbacks right now in Madden 21. To be entered into the 100,000 coin giveaway, give me your prediction for the Chiefs and the Bills. Who do you think is going to win that game? Give me a way to contact you. Thank y'all so much for watching. Y'all are the MVPs, and as always, I will see y'all in the next one.